So why do tech companies, corporations, media companies, why do they tend to lean left? Well, when I mean left, I mean liberal. And why would they lean liberal? Well, let's break down the difference between liberal and conservative, just the words. If I'm going to conserve something, if I'm going to be conservative with my money, what does that mean I'm going to do? I'm probably going to save it. I'm probably going to only spend it on things that I need. Okay, if I'm liberal with my money, what am I going to do? I'm going to spread it around. I'm going to buy this. I'm going to try something new. So if your bottom line is to make money, you want someone with a more liberal mindset. You want someone that's not so conservative in the way that they think so that they can purchase more things. So a lot of people think that there are conspiracy theories and there's all this craziness, in the world going on because they want to, push us down a certain trove of thinking. Well, if you really take a step back, it's not really conspiracy when you just start to follow what's best for business. If you're conserving and you're only focusing in on your family and you're not focusing in on having all the brightest, shiniest things, you're thinking about the health of your children, the health of your relationships, the health of your community, thinking about the long term instead of thinking about right now, the pleasure that I can get from whether it's eating food or entertaining myself or, watching something or doing something or buying something to make myself look cool. If it's not focused on the moment right now and it's focused on, this conservative long-term approach, then you're not spending as much money. You might be spending your money differently in a longer term, but at the end of the day, whether you have money or not, the way that you spend and the things that you spend money on dictate around how you think. What your choices are dictates on how you think. So if I'm someone who wants to make more money in my corporation, and I want you to spend your money and I want to get you to think, okay, you're going to spend your money this way versus that way, then why wouldn't I put a lot of, research and development into trying to get you to think the way of being more liberal with your money so that you can spend it in my businesses? So I think it gets to the point now where, I just watched this podcast with Casey and Callie Means with Tucker Carlson, and they talk about this circle of the big food companies, the big pharmaceutical companies, the hospitals, the doctors, the government, and how this circle keeps you trapped in it when you're sick. And because of the food that you eat, and you go to the doctor that gives you the prescription that keeps you sick, and they make all of this money off of you not being healthy. If you're someone who's more conservative in the way that you think, and you're thinking about, again, that long term, you're gonna start saying, hey, maybe I shouldn't be eating this food that is poisoning myself, and my family or whoever it is that you're around. And then you start breaking out of that process. Well, that's not what they want for business. Now, it's gross when you think about that. They're not concerned, healthcare is not concerned about people's health. That's gross. And that's the extreme of what's happened when all of our decisions are made around making money and profit. And so at the end of the day, the reason why all these companies tend to lean left is because that's how that mindset of being liberal and trying new things and spending money, that's going to be a more left-leaning mindset. Now, it's not case by case, but again, if you just break down, I'll give you an extreme example with someone like my grandmother who the way that she washes the dishes in her house, the way that she turns on the lights, the way that she uses the heater or never uses the heater, or the air conditioning, never uses air conditioning, those types of things is conservative. So she's willing to sacrifice short-term pleasure for long-term gain, whether that's saving money, even if it's not saving money for herself, it's saving money for her kids, endowment, and her grandkids, and whatever else that she has planned. She's not thinking about herself today. She's thinking about the long term. Whereas you look at other people, and they're in their, retired age, and they're spending money, and they're going on vacations, and they're doing all these different things, and they're buying Mercedes, and they're using that money because they want to enjoy that time. I'm not saying one is right and one is wrong, but what I am saying is if I was in charge of a company and all we cared about was profit, we didn't care about people's well-being in the long term, we only cared about making profits today, what am I going to do? I'm going to try to get people on that more liberal mindset. So I think that's why, again, in my opinion, I think that's why people are tending to be pushed toward that avenue. And when you go against that and you say, hey, no, we want, these things for our families and we want things, you're going to be met with resistance because there's so many people that have a vested interest in you spending money, I hate to say it, on things that don't matter to you in the long term. They matter more to you in the short term. And maybe, hey, that's what you want to do. And that's completely fine. Everybody has a right to choose what they want to do. But I think that if companies and if our culture is focused on that, we're not going to have a very strong future, just because I don't think it's possible. I think that we have to plan for the future if we want to have a good future. So if we're only thinking about today and we're only thinking about having as much fun or having as much pleasure as we can, it's not going to look good for us. And lo and behold, it's not looking good for this country, as I've made other videos about the collapse of the United States and the Western world. It's happening because of our own greed and our own goals from companies that are within our own borders. So, hey, I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but I'm saying that it doesn't look good for us. And these are one of the reasons why. So again, if we start thinking about that and we start voting ourselves with what we consume, I'm going to make another video on this, on what you consume, whether that's what you eat and drink, what you watch and listen to, what you surround yourself with. You vote with what you consume and how you spend your money. If you start spending your money in a different way, right, the companies can't, force you into buying things. And maybe they're trying, maybe that's what they're getting to, and maybe that's when we'll have an actual, rise up against, the tyranny that's going on. But as of right now, you have the power. We, the people, have the power. I can make a video and share this with people, and they can choose to watch it or not. And you can choose to eat certain foods or not. And I think that's what it's all about. Focus on what you can do if that's what you really want. And again, if you're saying, no, I want to, that's fine. All right. But be careful what you wish for. That's all I got for today. Thank you.